I feel like there are many things that can influence the people that we become. So for me, race, gender, and family definitely helped me define who I am today. Growing up, I definitely saw how race was a big thing here in the US. My father would have many problems in the workplaces he worked in or when he tried to get a job because of his race. His employers always thought he was stealing or made fun of the way he spoke English. He never gave up though. He always made sure that we had food on the table. In my family, there are a lot more women than there are men. Therefore, us women in my family are only expected to cook, clean, and do chores, and for a long time, that's the way everything went. That tradition is about to change though. Being the first female to graduate high school in my family and the first to go to college, I expect to set the examples for my younger sisters. Though gender traditions are not that great in my family, family is still very important to me because in the end you always go back to your roots. Family has always been here for me. Recently, I have developed a health issue with my lungs. I have been to the emergency room several times until one day one of my lungs completely collapsed. I was in the hospital for a few weeks with a tube inserted surgically in my side. Since I was on bed rest for those weeks, I basically had to relearn how to walk once I got the tube removed. Throughout my stay at the hospital, all the support that I got was from my family. I was encouraged and pushed through the whole way of my recovery. I am very grateful for my family because they never left me alone in that situation. I believe that living in the US has always been a privilege to my family, but it's hard to take the opportunities that are offered to us when we often discriminated because of our race. I find myself thinking about how free America is when I was watching the film Crash. I felt that race was the main social construct in the film. I felt like a lot of people have opinions on how someone looks just because what they hear or see in social media. Furthermore, being one of the many females in my family, I am expected to get married soon and cook and clean for the rest of my life, and I'm going to disappoint their expectations and pursue a career in the medical field and do what women should be doing with their lives, not just living up to the expectation of others. And she's a man, girls aren't given the opportunity like men are. Supposedly women aren't good enough, but in She's a Man, it definitely shows how women can do absolutely everything that men can do, sometimes even better. This has shaped my view on gender roles because every day more and more issues come up in the subject of gender, where one gender believes to be superior than the other, where in reality we are equal regardless of what gender we are. Evidently, I mention my family a lot because I believe that my family is very important in every possible situation there can be. Family is very important to me because at the end of the day, even if you don't get along with your family, and you still will always go back to your roots. In a way, one is always trying to make someone proud. And the kite runner family was evidently very important to both Hassan and Amir. Hassan always wanted to be accepted by Amir, and all Amir wanted to do was make his father proud of him. Though in the end, Amir found out the truth, that Hassan being his half brother, and at that moment it shocked me because I do not understand how you can keep that kind of secret from someone that you have lived so long with. Family is all about being honest to each other to prevent problems and misunderstandings within family. At the end of the day, you should always have family by your side. Throughout my years at West, I have seen many changes of how I interpret text and interact with others. Crash affected me greatly because I never thought about myself in terms of my race before watching it. It made me re-examine my view on race issues in America, and now when I read other texts, I find myself focusing on how people are treated in the text I read. I think this change happened because I was very naive to the events that were happening around me, and the movie made me see issues in a different way. This was important to my growth as an individual because I tend to be more understanding of why people are the way they are and why they make certain decisions. In addition, looking at gender, She's the Man shaped how I view gender roles in life and America in general. I think it affected me because my family tradition when it comes to gender is very different from the gender roles in America, where opportunities for both genders are the same. Although I did not change my perspective on family, I feel that reading The Kite Runner reinforced my views on family being the most important aspect of one's life because at the end we always need the moral support of our families. Overall, I would say the biggest change in me throughout these past few years was my view on gender roles because I was always taught different than what is offered to me here in the US. I think my family has had the most impact on how I perceive the world because everything eventually comes down to my family and I am making sure I am going to exceed their expectations.